Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Monday Motivation. I'm your host, Daniel Krakowski, joined as always
Daniel
by Goran Bezvicic.
I want to get hyped up because we were all kind of tired, and we have a special guest here.
We do. We got the Koebele.
The Koebele herself.
Magdalena Koebele from...
Magdalena Events and Consulting.
And I feel like we spoke to you in the past.
Yeah, I think
yes.
like 7 years ago. No.
You were previously working with another organization doing some event planning, stuff like that, right?
Yep.
And since then, you have started your... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, well, even before then, she was on the podcast where basically she went from being a W-2 employee to starting something on her own or figure out what she wanted to do.
Yep.
And then some of the things you were thinking about at the time, because so many people just want to quit whatever they're doing and start something, but they never do because they're scared.
Right. So what made you decide to actually do something?
I just figured, why not? I mean, now's the time.
Yeah.
I don't think people really analyze why not?
Yeah, I just had there's no reason not to try to do something on my own. In event planning, there's not a lot of overhead costs, so it just made sense to be my own boss, make my own hours, give it a go on my own, and...
There you are.
Yeah.
And she's also planning our event that's coming up.
Looking forward to it.
Up.
Yeah,
we should probably connect
week,
to make sure that we have everything. I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
We got the trapeze artists and
I got you covered.
Daniel, he's going to be doing the magic tricks.
Oh,
of
yeah.
course. Yep. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that. So, I'm really excited for what you have in the future here. So you started your own company 2 months ago, something like that.
About there.
You're the sole employee owner. Mm-hmm. And how's business going so far?
It's going really well. I'm actually booked for every weekend in September, and I have about 3 events in October.
Boom.
Yeah.
Just killing
We'd drop these mics if we could.
Here
it is.
That's awesome news. And on top, for everyone who's listened to your first podcast, it was all good and great at the time because you were so excited. But now we actually have some kind of skin in the game or some meat behind everything to see how it all turned out, or if you ran back to your job and said, I can't do it anymore. But sounds like it's
going well. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was it? I mean, I think a lot of people are afraid to choose the more stressful option, and starting your own business is definitely that. How do you mentally cope with the fact that, at least for a while, you're going to have a lot more stress in your life?
I don't know. Well, when you own your own business, you have flexible hours. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed during the day, it's not like an office job where you still have to be at work. I can go decompress, go do whatever I have to do for an hour to get my head back in the game before I go into work. But I don't mind being stressed. I like being busy. I'd probably be more stressed if I didn't have anything on my plate than having a full plate.
Yeah.
That's a really good answer. So you mentioned you set your own hours, and I think that's also a good thing, but it's also a pitfall for a lot of people that are going into being an entrepreneur, being a sole proprietor. How do you manage your time? And do you have those days you're like, hey, it's 1 p.m., what have I done?
Yes.
How do you hold yourself accountable, or do you have somebody else to hold you accountable?
I keep myself organized. I really like lists. So I make a lot of checklists throughout the day. I start my day by making a list of all the things that I absolutely have to get done by the end of the day.
Feels good to check everything out, right?
I love
I like checklists. I don't use them as religiously as you, but I have mental checklists.
I can't have mental checklists.
Morning, make my bed. Check.
Oh, yeah.
Brush teeth. Check. Shower.
Not important.
Yeah, so checklists help me stay on top of the things that I have to do. I try not to carry something over until the next day if I don't have to. My biggest pitfall has just been getting up at a reasonable time. It's super easy to sleep in now, so I'm trying to get up by 7:30 or 8. I'd like for it to be earlier. Today I got up at 5:45, and I feel more accomplished today than I have any other day.
You know
even though
what?
it was horrible.
I challenge a lot of people even here within our organization, but everybody else, like, listen, if you don't know where to start or how to get motivated, just 30 days, wake up at like 5 a.m. or 6 or very early and start your day at that time just to get kind of the mojo.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people that have understood that challenge and have accepted it, they actually get a really good benefit. And there is some truth to it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, if anything, it's like the mentality that you're not behind, that you're actually ahead.
Yeah.
Makes you much better.
Well, yeah, and then your day can be over faster, too. Instead of working until like 10 o'clock at night, I can actually be done at 5 or 6 if I wanted to, if I got up early. It's just getting out of bed.
Yeah. So how did you start your own company then? You had a little experience within this field. What were the steps? How are you getting clients? How are you marketing yourself?
So I started off just by like doing all of the like logistical stuff in order to be a company, filing all my paperwork, making a website, getting on social media, making business cards, and then I just started telling every person that would listen to me about what I am now doing and why I'm excited about it and why they can be excited about it. And just through word of mouth, I've been able to get a few deals out of that. I also went on a site called Thumbtack.
Shout out Thumbtack.
Yeah.
Shout out. I love
the best.
Thumbtack. You know what? I'm going to say that I used to use Thumbtack before they were cool.
Oh, wow. Well, sorry.
Like way back in the day.
Goran just put on his skinny jeans and grew his beard out. That hipster Thumbtack reference.
That's right.
Yeah, so Thumbtack has been great. I've gotten 2 clients off of that so far. And then I started going to networking events. And then I got a paid list online to contact small businesses to see if they want to use my services for
It's kind of like what
events.
we do in real estate, huh?
Yeah. It's a lot of...
Curious.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of cold calling, a lot of just putting myself out there.
How do you, so in cold calling, I think everybody is scared of that. How did you didn't come from a cold calling environment. This is your probably first time or second time?
Yeah,
or?
I did cold calling. I had an internship at the Ordway, and I had to do a bunch of cold calling for them to get like silent auction donations. So it, obviously not the same thing, but at least I am comfortable with people just saying no or being rude. I mean, if they're rude, you just hang up the phone and go on to the next.
Walk us through like, hey, I'm going to go after this business, or set up the entire cold call experience for everybody.
Okay. Well, yeah, so you have to get some sort of list or some sort of leads, right?
Yep.
And then I make myself sit down and I try to call 20 people a day. I will say I haven't been great about doing that in the last week.
No one ever is.
But I try to do like a little bit of research on what the company actually is before I call them.
Did you just go on Google? Did you?
Yeah, just Google them. I try to see if I can get the name of like an owner or their HR professional, if they have a marketing professional, like owner's assistant, somebody. So when I call, typically you're going to get the front desk if you're calling a business. So just try to have the person's name so the receptionist will actually put you through to them. If they're not willing to take my call, I'll just see if I can at least get their email, and I try to follow up that way. But yeah, just try to, I don't know, introduce yourself, start off with like the value that you're going to bring to them, and see if you can keep them on the line for as long as possible, or set up a face-to-face meeting. Or if they don't want to talk, I'll say, can I just get your email and we can follow up that way. Right. Calls are hard, especially for business owners. So that's
really
tricky.
good. That's amazing. I think it's more than anyone your age. What are you, 18, 19?
24.
Oh, okay. They're probably like, oh, I made an Instagram account. I have a Facebook page, and now I'm going to stand by my cell phone, wait for somebody to call me and give me some business.
People are not going to call you.
I've been trying to tell people that. I'm like, you actually have to go and pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. Are you interested in this?
Yeah. Or like when you're out and about, I hate doing it, but I've been going around getting stuff for different events, and if I'm at a small business, I'll just give them my card or see if they'll give my card to somebody, even if I don't think that they'd be initially off the bat, somebody that would be in my client base. You never know.
Brand
They might
awareness.
know.
They might see you
or-
in 2 years. And
Yeah.
Be like, oh, I don't have that card that
Yeah.
I had on my desk for a week. Whatever it is.
Did you go into cold calling right away, or did you kind of create a list of like, hey, friends and family, some business
Yeah.
associates or relationships that I already
I
have?
did that first
Okay.
because I'm going to be honest, I wanted to avoid cold calling as long as possible.
That's okay.
I just don't like it. I mean, but you have to do it. So I just spent like my first couple weeks just contacting people within my sphere and trying to set up like lunches or coffee with whoever would want to meet with me. And then kind of once I ran out of that list, Daniel was like, you have to pay for a list or you have to come up with a way to get leads because that's just where you're at now. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And so I finally did that. And
Would you say that, you mentioning that you're booked out right now, is that a result of cold calling? Is it a combo of relationship you established, or
it's
just
a relationships and Thumbtack right now. So I haven't gotten anything off my cold calling yet, but I'm only like a month in, so I don't really think that you can.
right? I mean, to start to build a pipeline, people don't understand a pipeline means it's big. You have to stack it up, and sometimes you have to make cold calls for like a year
Right.
before somebody calls you back, say, hey, you called me or left me a message or emailed me like 7 months ago. I'm ready to do business.
Right.
That happened
yeah.
all the time for property management when we first started.
I think it's 500 cold calls before you graduate from being a white belt and talking to people on the phone, even. Like,
Yeah.
it's
To
a lot.
To white belt and a half.
Now you're a blue belt.
Yeah.
A yellow.
We're using the jiu-jitsu rankings.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Well, yeah, and just like getting your spiel down, I wrote down what I was going to say, so at least I had something, because if you just call somebody and you don't really know, they're going to get on the line and you're just going to blank, or at least I would. So I wrote down at least like some key points, which helped, but I'd like to have that down more. Like I just practice.
What type of customers are you getting from, you mentioned Thumbtack, and for people that are not aware or don't know what Thumbtack is, write it down or just go to thumbtack.com. It's a really good website. It's similar to like an Angie's List or other lead generation sites where you bid on business and people request multiple bids. So it's a competing market. We're on there too from a management perspective.
And brokerage.
So the business I'm getting right now from Thumbtack has been all social events, no corporate events. So 2 birthday parties are what I've gotten so far. But yeah, I think a lot of people go on Thumbtack for weddings. Weddings are the one event I don't do. I don't have the manpower at this point to do weddings.
Those would be like where you
it's a whole nother beast. Yeah. So social events have come from that.
Okay. No, that's good. I think that lead generating websites are a fantastic way on top of all the other stuff, cold calling.
Yeah.
But I know when we started, both Ryan and I, we used a couple of lead generation websites where we paid for the lead and then that lead got sent to other competing businesses. We would then call and try to schedule an appointment, meet people in person, and hopefully win their business.
Yeah.
Which is great. Competition, I think, is awesome for the consumer and also makes you better at what you do, because then you're like, hey, I'm going to go head-to-head with somebody or against somebody.
Yeah.
Would you say that you've gone against, or they've maybe considered hiring multiple other people? But
yeah, definitely. The first client that contacted me through Thumbtack was interviewing. She got 5 bids.
Oh, wow.
So she interviewed those 5, and she seemed to like my services the best.
Why? What was your competitive advantage?
Right.
What was your pitch?
Yep.
I think my cost was pretty competitive compared to the other ones. I think she overall liked my proposal better. She liked my vision for her party. She was a client that didn't know where to start. She knew she wanted to have it in her backyard. She knew she wanted it to be a movie theme, but like other than that, she was kind of like at a loss and feeling very
Movie
overwhelmed. Yes, it's like an outdoor night movie.
I want to go to this party.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So I think she liked my proposal and just like the design quality that I could bring to it.
Did you disclose, or do you disclose, like, hey, I'm new to this business?
No.
What are your thoughts? And I think I have my own opinion on it, and we've had this same conversations with our customers, 7-8 years ago when we started, because the experience always comes into play, and people ask, how long have you been doing this?
Right. And I, of course, don't lie.
Yep.
I don't bring it up voluntarily.
Right.
I worked in corporate, or part of my job when I worked in a corporate environment was event planning. So I did that for 2 years. So I kind of qualified by being like, when I worked in a corporate position, I did the events there. And that was, 2 years. And,
Right.
People right off the bat know that I'm young. So they look at me and they already know that I'm not going to have like 15, 20 years of experience. So.
Right, which, again, is okay. And to me, I think honesty is going to be the best policy. It's the same thing that happened when, again, going back to Ryan and myself, we both fairly look, young, even now, But back then, it was just like, a couple of kids show up and like, you're going to manage my biggest asset I have. I don't know about that. So they would then grill us or ask us questions, and we were always 100% honest. But what I think a lot of times what won the business, it wasn't always just a price. It was the fact that we were genuine about our love for real estate, about what we do, and of course we had the knowledge to back it up.
Right.
And a lot of times people just said, hey, I really like to go with you because even though you're smaller or you're just starting new, you have the can-do, the grit that's necessary to get my property rented or sold or whatnot. Yeah. So I think it's very receptive, and ultimately it's the client that we want anyway.
Right. Yeah. When you're young, there's challenges, but I think it can be a benefit to you too.
Yes.
Fresh, new ideas. You're open to a lot of different things. You're open to collaboration, especially in an event setting.
Right. No, I agree. It was funny because I don't know, maybe like a few years ago, I went on an appointment. I didn't get the business, and I always, ask, hey, what could I do to improve, the standard thing. And they're like, well, we decided to go with a smaller company. You guys just seem a little too big for us. I'm like, I was gonna say yes, but then I was like, but I didn't get the business. So I was like, it was a win-win, I think.
Yeah. No question. Well, cool. Thank you so much for stopping by, filling us in a little bit on kind of the progression of the business.
And if you need event planning, corporate planning, party planning, non-wedding planning, just planning in general.
Yeah.
How can people get a hold of you? We'll get your links all within this podcast. They can reach out to you. But if somebody's interested right now, what can they do? How can they get a hold of you?
You can visit my website at magdalena-events.com.
Yep.
And there's an online contact form if you want to set up a free consultation. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, or my email is maggie@magdalena-events.com.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next week.